Last but not least, I want to invite Dr. Gabriel Rugalema. He is the Regional Director, World Vegetable Center, Eastern and Southern Africa, to give us his closing remarks. Tumpigeni makofi akija. Makofi kabisa.
Thank you, Caleb. I thought after 3 days of eating vegetables and listening to all this talk about how powerful vegetables are, I will have increased some height somewhat. But I'm still the same. It doesn't really matter. So, colleagues, nice to be here at this hour of the day. First, let me say my Honorable Director General of WorldVeg, Dr. Michael Warpraise, who couldn't be here with us. He really wanted to be here, but I'm sure he's joining us online. Distinguished partners who are here and who are connecting online. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me again thank the government of Tanzania and particularly the Arusha regional authorities for hosting us, for ensuring our safety, and for making sure that this conference goes as it was planned. Nadhani tuwapigie makofi na wenyewe kidogo. Second, I want to pay special tribute to the retired or former Prime Minister, Mr. Mizengo Pinda, who was here for 3 good days, joining us, listening. When he didn't understand some of your abbreviations, he asked me, and I had no idea, so I told him, that must be a vegetable. But often I had a good idea because I'm an agronomist. He appreciated the knowledge we have, the enthusiasm we have, and the courage to bring the idea and the issue of African traditional vegetables on the agenda. So he has asked me again and again this morning to say thank you for inviting him and for sitting with him for all these 3 days. I would also want to thank the donors who have enabled us to be here, and also the WorldVeg staff at headquarters, at the regional office here in Arusha, but also elsewhere in the world for organizing this conference. Some of them spent sleepless nights juggling with the budget, with the program, with your logistics, but they worked beyond the call of duty to ensure that you all reach here in one piece, you contribute to this important summit, and you go back feeling fired up. So we have had exciting 3 days full of ideas, full of hope, full of energy and enthusiasm. It pleases me to see the energy and the determination you have exuded in the last 72 hours. If we maintain this energy for another year, 2, 3, 5 years, we will solve most of the problems that we discussed here. This summit is a project that is close to the heart of the WorldVeg's staff, management, and the board. And indeed, you have seen the board chairman emphasizing that message. So our summit has come to an end. And often when the summit comes to an end, it's an anticlimax. Bwana twende nyumbani sasa. But I say that this is not the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. We have to start being fired up. We have to begin the journey to place African traditional vegetables to the center of regional and the global food systems. But to begin this journey, we need to change the narrative on African traditional vegetables. Often when we meet, we talk about problems, we talk about challenges, we talk about why this can't be done. We tried it 5 years ago, it didn't work. Yes, but we can try next time, and such things. We know problems exist. but we cannot discuss the problems ad infinitum, forever. If we do so, we will never make progress. They have a saying in my place that he who discusses problems without stop will never build a house, because the poles can't be found, mabati yamepanda bei, cement is not there. So you have at some point to stop discussing problems, looking at the solutions. We have to discuss solutions and opportunities. Some old problems will always be there. We are not going to eliminate diseases. We are not going to kill all the insects. They will remain as our challenges. What matters are solutions we put in place to address those dynamic problems. So I have said that we need to change the paradigm. How do we change this paradigm? 3 important points there to change the paradigm or the narrative. First, give African traditional vegetables the recognition they deserve. Because if you look now, and the Prime Minister said it well, start with the naming. You call them traditional, you call them indigenous, you call them orphaned crops, you call them underutilized crops, you call them ignored crops. This creates stigmatization and creates disrespect. At the end of the day, who wants to eat traditional things? The world has moved on. Who wants to be indigenous? Who wants to eat an orphan crop? You see? So unless we learn to change the naming as a first step, then we will have our vegetables as part of the respected vegetables. Remember, everything you eat, tomato is indigenous to somebody, cabbage is indigenous to somebody, Chinese cabbage is even indigenous to China, at least that tells us. So everything is indigenous. What you need is to take this label away. But we also need to give African traditional vegetables the recognition they deserve in terms of policy. I said it at the beginning 2 days ago, that they don't feature anywhere in policy. If you go to any Ministry of Agriculture, you won't find a senior policy advisor or senior agronomist working on traditional vegetables. Watasema, aka, wewe umeugua nini? Unafanya traditional indigenous vegetables. We need also to integrate them in research, in training, as well as in investment. I was really very happy this afternoon we spoke about investment in the wrong way. So if I had a dream, I would like 2025 to see that African traditional vegetables feature in agricultural policies. The research is expanded. There are PhDs working on traditional vegetables, and the investment has expanded. So that's issue number 1, of giving African traditional vegetables the recognition they deserve. Issue number 2 in changing the narrative is give African traditional vegetables the visibility they deserve. Because of bad naming, because of stigmatization, they are not seen by anyone. But then we need to put them in sports. I mean, you see football matches being played for some chocolates, for some big G's, for some other small things. Why not on vegetables? Ligi ya Kenya iwe ni ligi ya imekuwa sponsored ku highlight vegetables, or ligi ya Tanzania or ya Uganda. The media has a role in this because the media can communicate, can inform, and can educate. So the people from the media who are here, please give these vegetables the visibility they deserve. But also, when we talk about traditional vegetables, we often talk about them being kitchen gardens. Why should they be kitchen gardens? Make them part of commercial gardens. Take them out of the backyard to the front of the yard. Then they will be seen, they will be respected, and they will be utilized. Also, make them visible in terms of food. At least today, For the first time, I saw that the hotel served some cassava leaves and pumpkin leaves and stuff like that. So we need to make them part of our daily food intake, be proud of eating that food, and celebrate it. Yeah? So the third reason in terms of changing the narrative on these vegetables is give African vegetables the dignity they deserve. And this dignity comes in some colors and hue, but I would say, first of all, the appeal. You know, many people say, oh, I ate good food, but the first eater, the first sense that determines whether you will eat something is the eye. You see it, you like it, you'd like to taste. Sindio? Yeah. The second is the nose. You smell. That's why herbs and spices are so important, because they smell well. Eh? And then the third is the tongue in the mouth. That's when you taste. But tongue is number 3. Uh-huh. And then make them appeal to the pocket. If I want to raise money and I can't sell these vegetables so that I get money, I'm not going to plant them. And then, of course, let them appeal to value addition, and I will come back to these numbers. But also make them safe so that we sell them in a clean and safe environment. If you look at the vegetables in some of our soko mjingas, in the sidewalk markets, it's the African vegetables that are down there, and these other vegetables are sold on the tables. Why? Huh? So sell them in a dignified form, in dignified places too. And then make it tasty. I was in Hong Kong some years ago, then I went to Taiwan, I went to Thailand. You see, their traditional vegetables are made into snacks, those sweets, like chocolates, like sticks that kids can eat. So even if you are 2-year-old who doesn't want to eat vegetables, they will eat them because they have been made into something else. Make them into soups, make them into stews, blend them with other foods. In Kenya, we were talking about blending of ugali, because ugali is nice as a starch, but it doesn't have any other usefulness to the human body. So, and we were talking about blending. Every society here eats ugali. Why can't we blend ugali and mchicha, ugali and something, so that when people eat a nearly complete meal? You see? So that's it about giving the African traditional vegetables in terms of changing the narrative. So, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, there is widespread perception that there is no business case for investing in African traditional vegetables. This is not true. She has shown that they are already investing 1 billion Tanzanian shillings. Dr. Mwangi has shown other figures. I think there is. Let me tell you outright, it is not true that you can't invest in African traditional vegetables. The value chain is full of opportunities, and I will mention a few. Production and sale of good quality seed. Whether it's done through companies or whether it's done as QDS, quality declared seeds, by village groups and groups of young people, people can still make money. So it's an investment opportunity there. The second one, manufacturing of packaging and the transportation materials. If there is an abomination in some of these things we do, is how we transport our vegetables and fruits to go to the market. And here is an opportunity to make good crates, to make good containers that people can use to transport their vegetables in a safe and clean manner, and you can make money there. I know a company from outside Tanzania that is actually trying to do that as we speak. But that's an opportunity inside here, inside the region, inside the country. The Tetra Pak packets we use for milk, you know where they come from. The company is Swedish, and they are manufactured in India. Why can't we make them here? So the second one is manufacturing of packaging and transportation materials. I've talked about it. The third element in terms of business opportunities is the extension of shelf life. I was really very happy that Jane Ambuko talked of zero loss centers that they are starting to establish in Kenya, because post-harvest loss is a big problem both in vegetables and fruit. Vegetables and fruits contain nothing except water. And as soon as you harvest, that water starts getting lost. If you can't preserve it from minute number one, then you lose your crops. But we should think carefully of using solar energy for drying, for freezing, for chilling, for doing whatever. We should use mobile processing equipment. I saw this working very well in Sierra Leone, where we needed to grate cassava as soon as it is harvested. And we gave mobile graters to young people, and they made money. You do it, 10 households in this village, you ride your bike or motorcycle, another 10 households. At the end of the day, you become a rich man without really going to the streets and looking for a job that is not there. So I think we can think extensively about extension of shelf life. There are opportunities there. The fourth one is the production of lucrative products beyond leaf, fruit, and grain. I have always asked my colleagues at the center, World Vegetable Center, why can't we use amaranth seed to produce oil? In Kenya, there is a big farmer who produces oil from canola, which is also a vegetable. And it's the most expensive edible oil in Kenya. And you find the queues of people waiting. Now, we have got grain amaranth, and we are not producing whatever. We should think beyond the products we inherited to produce the products of the future. If you look at the essential oils from herbs and spices, where are they made? In Bahrain. And in Bahrain, the only thing that grows there is, can you tell me? Dates, tende. Yeah? So we cultivate these things, we send them I don't know where. Somebody in Bahrain manufactured them into essential oils, and they come back here for our skin and for our hair and for whatever. Those are opportunities. Take them, ladies and gentlemen. If I wasn't a convert of development work, I would have been a businessman, but now it's too late for me. So as you leave this conference, please retain your passion that you have shown here and do something to change the narrative, as I have said. If you are a researcher, do more research on African traditional vegetables. If you're a media person, write more, write well about these vegetables. If you are a farmer, produce more and better. If you're a decision maker, put in place a supportive policy environment to enhance production and use of these vegetables. If you are a banker or an investor of some sort, identify your niche, invest a big way so that we can make a difference. If you're a business person, work to expand the business opportunities of these vegetables. I have again heard many times, even here in this conference, where the classical argument of supply and demand dominates our discussion. Or we can't produce more because there is no demand. Or there is demand, but these people can't produce more. Let me give you one example close to my heart. There is a restaurant chain in Nairobi in Kenya called Amaika. Probably you know it. It has a restaurant in Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at the departure gate. Anyone who has seen it? They have a restaurant in the UN, and she has a restaurant at Peponi in Nairobi. Her biggest problem is to get the vegetables she requires. So the demand is there, but the supply doesn't come easily. So we worked with her a bit to try and go and see how supply could be met, because women in Western Kenya are supplying vegetables, are producing vegetables. The problem was in the middle, the transportation and bringing it to the market. If you think that supply and demand cannot be linked, think about Twiga Foods in Kenya. Started in 2014 as a small startup, linking African vegetable producers in the countryside to the urban market. Today is a multi-million US dollar company in East Africa and in Eastern Africa. So this business of demand, oh bwana supply, really, if we are serious, we can overcome it. So I think this conference has sent a benchmark. We have heard of all the problems and challenges and whatever and whatnot. At the next meeting and those that will follow, we will focus on progress made since this conference. So we will not discuss some of the issues that we discussed here. We will seek to move forward. If you said you were busy evaluating 5 lines for commercialization, where are you? Don't tell us, oh, when you left, I went and found another 20 lines. Now I'm doing that. We want really to make progress. So to make the next meeting very appealing, very fruitful, we will organize it in 4 segments. 1, there will be a scientific segment that deals with all matters science, from seed production to variety evaluation and everything. But there will be also, number 2, policy segment. I feel that we need more policymakers, more senior policymakers in a room like this, from the governments, from the UN, from local governments, NGO side, and everywhere, including the business world. But we also need to have a show and a food festival. We are talking about vegetables. Where are they? We saw them in the photographs here, but photographs are not palpable. Hakuna mtu anaweza akagusa hizo vegetables. So we will need a space where different groups, they will showcase what they do, how they do it, but also a food festival made of different kinds of African dishes, ugali na kisamvu, ugali na pumpkin, na nini, so that we can taste and say, hi, actually it is very good. Yeah? And then number 4, we will organize a B2B forum or a deals room where you are a producer of spices and there is this bank who gives loans. You come and say, look, I have this fantastic idea. I need your money. Or you are producing and there is an off-taker and you go there and say, look, I can give you 20 tons of, I don't know, rosemary or mchicha or whatever the vegetable is or spice, and then you make deals there. See? So those 4 things, the scientific segment, the policy segment, the show and food festival, and the B2B forum. And I think these will make whatever conference we will have very, very concrete and very, very complete. So lastly, let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, of the desire and commitment of the World Vegetable Center to partner with you to make Africa super vegetables an important element in Africa's quest for development. Mark my words, I have said Africa super vegetables. I have been toying with the names because I just went into literature to check what are the 10 superfoods. And actually vegetables, leafy vegetables are number 3. And so even if we call them African leafy vegetables, they are superfoods still. So don't call them orphaned crops anymore. Call them, I think the experts need to sit down and find what appropriate name we can use. Is Africa super vegetables or Africa superfoods? I leave that to you. So we can and must work together to make Africa's super vegetables contribute to Africa's and global wealth, health, and nutrition. Time waits for nobody. So let's go and do whatever we can to change the narrative. We have heard about the relatives of ours, friends of ours, colleagues of ours who are in special or peculiar circumstances. And I'm talking about the intervention by UNHCR about refugees and often also about internally displaced people. To these people, vegetables can be the first line of defense and the difference between severe malnutrition and surviving in order to start rebuilding your life. So we in the World Vegetable Center, and I'm sure also the partners here, will work with you, UNHCR, in this space because we know that nobody deserves to be in that situation, but also that people, even in that situation of being refugees, can be very articulate, can be very innovative, and can be very development-minded. So thank you for listening, and I wish you a very, very safe journey. Probably we'll call the program with UNHCR Vegetables for Peace or Vegetables for Human Rights or Vegetables for something. But I tell you, we will not forget those people. When you go back to Kigoma and other places, please tell them we are there for them. So to everybody, thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing you at the next conference, probably in 2 years' time. Tomorrow, you are warmly welcome to the World Vegetable Center in Tengeru, and then, of course, to AfriSem. You have been a wonderful, wonderful audience. I am really proud of you, and I'm proud of Africa, and I have a hope that even when I turn gray, there is a generation behind me that will carry these hopes and passion of Africa's development to the next level. Asante sana.